One of my favorite places to visit around here is Chimney Rock National Monument. It's a special place that's really neat. Today, I'm going to show you some of the things you'll need to know when you come out here to see it for yourself. If you've traveled the highway between Pagosa Springs and Durango, Colorado, then Chimney Rock is hard to miss. It's this big tower of rock that's way up on the ridge between two valleys. The highway goes right by it. You can easily see Chimney Rock from a car. Actually, there are two rock towers. Chimney Rock is the tall, thin tower that's closest to the road. The other tower is called Companion Rock. Companion Rock is thicker, but not quite as tall as Chimney Rock. The towers look different. They're not like any of the other hills or mountains in the area. Scientists tell us that Chimney Rock was formed many millions of years ago. In fact, if you could go back in time and stand right here several million years ago, you wouldn't be standing on dry land at all. Instead, you'd be treading water in the middle of a large ocean. During the early formation of the Earth, the land that would eventually become the western part of the United States was repeatedly covered by ocean, or swamps, or large rivers, or seashore. Big fish may have been swimming around here, or dinosaurs may have walked through a swampy jungle. It sure must have looked a lot different than it does today. Of course, millions of years ago, there weren't any people. Nobody was here to see any of this. Scientists today understand what happened in the past by studying rocks and fossils that still remain. Chimney Rock and Companion Rock are made out of sandstone. It's the kind of rock that is formed when the sand at the bottom of an ocean or an ancient river gets smushed together. At one time, this whole area was covered by a thick layer of sandstone. The sandstone is light brown in color. The surface of sandstone feels kind of like sandpaper. Even older than sandstone is this layer of rock. It's called shale. Most shale is dark gray. A lot of shale is so soft that it's crumbled into a kind of powder. Millions of years ago, this used to be mud in a yucky swamp. The swamps, the oceans, and the dinosaurs were long gone when the Rocky Mountains started to form. The mountains were pushed upwards by the pressure from deep inside the earth. When that happened, all these layers of sandstone and shale started to crack and get tilted around. And if that wasn't enough, guess what happened next? The Ice Age. The weather turned cold. In the mountains just north of here, snow and ice covered everything. It was so cold that the snow didn't even melt during the summer. The snow just kept getting deeper and deeper. Finally, the climate warmed up again. All that snow and ice started to melt. When that happened, big muddy rivers came roaring down through here. All that water washed away most of the rock. Two of the rivers carved these huge valleys on both sides of Chimney Rock. Chimney Rock and Companion Rock were once tiny islands between these ancient rivers. The water went around them on both sides. The Piedra River in the valley just west of Chimney Rock is now the largest of the two rivers. Even so, it's just a tiny stream compared to what it was like when the Ice Age melted. It took millions of years to go from oceans and swamps and riverbeds to the towers at Chimney Rock that we see today. But this land has even more secrets to reveal. It's the story of the early people who lived their lives and built a community up near the base of the towers. Long before the explorers from Europe sailed across the Atlantic Ocean to a land that they would call America, the various tribes of native people had already built successful civilizations here. It was the members of the ancestral Pueblo tribe who settled at Chimney Rock. They built homes, they planted crops, they hunted wildlife for meat, they made pottery to store food and water, they made clothing from animal skins, and they learned to weave fibers from the yucca plant into sandals or rope. The people who lived at Chimney Rock 1,000 years ago are the ancestors of the Pueblo, Hopi, and Zuni people who live today in New Mexico and Arizona. They were like the great-great-great-great-grandparents of today's tribal members. Chimney Rock was just one of the many ancestral Pueblo communities that were built in this area over 1,000 years ago. Their main city was down at Chaco Canyon, in what is now northern New Mexico. Compared to Chimney Rock, Chaco Canyon is really huge. Chaco Canyon is now preserved and protected as a National Historical Park. Other ancestral Pueblo villages were at Hoven Weep in Utah, AZTEC in New Mexico, ESCALANTE in Colorado near Dolores, as well as many others. A lot of those places are open to the public. They're really interesting to visit. When you tour the ancient community at Chimney Rock, you'll approach the entrance along the valley floor. About 1,000 years ago, the Pueblo people used this valley for farming and hunting. There's a lot of flat, open land here in the valley. The stream provides water that they could use for irrigating crops of corn, beans, squash, and pumpkins. But the buildings they constructed were mostly up on that mesa. That's nearly 1,000 feet above the valley floor. To get there, we'll ride up a gravel road that leads to the upper parking lot. As we go, look how the landscape changes. The valley floor is flat and level. There are streams and ponds that collect water. Higher up, the land is steep and rocky. Sometimes there's no soil at all, just bare rock. There's very little dirt that could hold any rainwater. It just runs down the hillside. This is not a very good place to grow any crops. At some point, the ancient people must have realized this. Water is just as important to us today as it was to the ancestral Pueblo people 1,000 years ago. Our tour up here is going to involve a hike to see the buildings where they lived, worked, and worshipped. On a warm summer's day, you'll probably want to carry some extra drinking water. You can easily put a bottle or two in a small backpack, or you can attach one of these reusable bottles to clip onto your belt. Either way, don't forget to bring some water. If you've got a good pair of hiking shoes, be sure to wear them. Tennis shoes or running shoes would probably be okay too. You'll need some kind of foot protection. The trail can get kind of rough, and there's cactus and other thorny plants up here that might stick you. There's usually plenty of bright sun up here. That means one thing: sun protection. A bad sunburn can be really nasty. Be sure to put sunblock lotion on any exposed skin. Depending on the weather, a hat with a brim or a long-sleeve shirt might also be a good idea. There will be a guide from Chimney Rock who will lead the tour. The guide is there to explain what you're seeing and to answer any questions you might have. Always follow the guide's instructions. Don't ever wander off or leave the trail. You'll be seeing the walls and foundation of structures that were built more than 1,000 years ago. It's kind of amazing that they've lasted this long. For that reason, don't ever climb up on the walls. Don't even sit on them. The walls are really fragile. Even though they're made of rock, you could easily break something that could never be fixed. The tour is divided into 2 parts. The Great Kiva, the pit house, and the stone basin are all about the same level as the parking lot. There's a paved walkway that takes you from one structure to the next. The other part of the tour involves some serious hiking. We'll follow a dirt and stone trail along a ridge that leads up to the Great House. The Great House is the largest building that the ancestral Pueblo people built here at Chimney Rock. The guide will tell you some really amazing things about the Great House, like how once every 18 years from the location of the Great House, you can see a full moon rise directly between Chimney Rock and Companion Rock. The view up here is pretty fantastic. Whether the moon is rising or not, you might want to bring a camera. There's one other thing that I want to tell you. Remember how I said that the modern Pueblo, Hopi, and Zuni people are the direct descendants of the people who once lived here at Chimney Rock? That's a very important part of the Native American culture. They believe that their ancestors helped to make them who they are today. Members of these tribes continue to come visit Chimney Rock. Here they honor the place where their ancestors once lived. They pray and they give thanks for the traditions that were started and for the civilization that was created here. It's a civilization that continues on today. Sometimes ceremonies and dances are held to celebrate the people who used to call Chimney Rock home. To the Pueblo, the Hopi, and the Zuni, this is sacred land. Always remember when you visit Chimney Rock, you're really visiting someone else's church. Be respectful of their traditions. During your visit, try to use your imagination to picture these broken walls as a finished home with a roof and a doorway and windows and a fireplace inside. Try to picture small children running around, or men and women coming back up the valley with corn that they've just harvested. Try to picture the clear night sky, with more stars than you could ever possibly count. It's all here, at a magical place called Chimney Rock. You just have to look, and listen, and use your imagination.